Okay, call the meeting to order. Start with the pledge of allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Let's pray. Our dear Heavenly Father, once again, we thank you for this day you provided for us, dear Lord. We thank you for the rain that you gave us last night, dear Lord. We ask you to be with us today in this meeting, dear Lord, and be with us later today as we expect some more rain and possible storms. We ask your hand of protection on all that may be affected, dear Lord. Just continue to guide and direct us in all that we do. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. Amen.
Thank you, Mr. Lynn. All right, well, good morning, everybody. First on our agenda is any county personnel or public comment. Mr. Markham, come on up.
Yes. Couple quick things. First, I've got our certification numbers for real properties. Need to copy those. Have a look and see if you have any questions on them.
Thank you.
And this I gave you just the first page is the breakdown of the differences between last year and this year, between appraised and assessed. And the second is the actual report we get from the certification.
Now, you had given us a form similar to this, say a month ago.
It was
Or
a few months ago, that would have been our preliminary, and
Okay.
it was done at the time we sent out our certification letters for our CBNs.
Okay,
This is the actual updated numbers after all of the informal appeals have taken place.
thanks.
So this is what we are certifying for the first this year.
Anything that stands out in your mind?
No, not really. Some, we had a couple of big changes in class codes on some, like the local golf course. They actually had an IRS exemption for taxes. So we had to change that over. They've had it for probably years, if not decades, and just nobody knew to bring it to us. And that basically, it changes the land that they're sitting on from commercial to not-for-profit.
Okay.
So that was the big one.
So that's why that went to
That would be
170%.
one of the reasons, yeah. Yeah, we did also have several properties that were listed under one of the local tribes that needed to be taken to exempt that was still on tax roll and had been for a while, so.
Okay.
That was something that I ran across while I was doing some reports for that area and just kind of looking things over, so.
Okay. When I first got on here in January, February, whenever it was, I mean, we just went through a slew of those tax change orders,
Mhm.
and then it just kind of quit. So,
Yeah.
so you had worked through everything, or did we?
Yes, for the most part, this would be for the 2025 certified values.
Okay,
I do still have a handful, probably 10 or 12 payment under protests for previous years, I believe 23 and 24. So those should be resolved in the next couple of weeks, but those are nothing that will affect what the numbers that you see here.
all right, you guys, you've seen this before. You got any questions for him? No.
So the total appraised went up $60,000, $60 million.
Yeah.
60 million. Okay, so just for people out there, our county is worth appraised value of approximately 1.27 billion.
Yes.
That's right. Okay,
That's,
all right.
But the assessment went down.
yeah, and that's because of some of the changes on the larger property that went from commercial to not-for-profit or from some other classification to exempt.
Okay. And so these are the final numbers. This is one of the chunks of information that we're gonna use to develop
Yes.
our,
Develop.
Okay, so this is-
Once you get your budgets, then, you'll use this to generate your levies.
so do you file this or anything and make it official, or is this just,
No, I mean, we certify to the clerk, and once we certify our numbers to them, then
Uh-huh.
they take that file, and that's
Okay.
what they use.
okay, all right, all right. Well, you feel pretty good about the numbers then. Good.
Yeah, I mean, it's gonna be a study, year over year, or something like this, but it's, until we see value start to drop off, this is what you'll probably see.
Okay. Anything else for us?
The only other thing I had was to remind you that my contract is due June 30th. I've got some stuff together upstairs, but it's something I'll bring down, and we'll have to go through probably an executive session at some point in the future.
Okay,
For me, sooner is better to know that I'm still secured in my job. Otherwise I need to be looking, so, but that's something that's coming up.
so you're year to year,
No, we're every 4 years.
every 4 years.
Every 4 years, we have to recertify, we have to basically renegotiate, I guess you'd call it. With you guys on that, it kind of runs the same cycles as our appraisal recertification with the state for my registered mass appraiser.
Okay,
It's every 4 years, it's following the same as our years.
all right. So are you ready on your end to meet? You just want us to get
Yeah, I just
get you on the
find
schedule?
some numbers, I'm just gonna, get it with you guys, I wanted to give you guys a heads up so you know that it's coming.
Sure.
And then, I'll set up a time with Vicky probably in the next couple of weeks to come down and talk to you about that YouTube paperwork I have.
All right. Okay, well, thanks for letting us know. Do you have any questions for him before he takes off? All right, I don't either, I guess. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you guys, appreciate your time.
Okay, I guess I asked the commissioner, you got anything to say while we got a little public time here? Anything you want? I would just reiterate a hearty congratulations to everybody who walked across the stage in graduation yesterday and over the weekend. A lot of kids excited about their future. It's kind of fun and to go to those graduations, but it's a little sad sometimes too. I guess it's a sign of the times. They're walking across and gosh, I held you when you were a baby, and what's going on? Mr. Merchant, he gave the Todd Widman scholarships and challenge coins at Horton. I got to see that, and you did a good job. You had did everyone that applied got something? Did I hear that right? I mean, there were seven, I think, award winners.
We did $1,000 scholarship. We have, and we should be giving to 1,000 and 500.
Yeah. So I thought it was great, and that's nice to keep his memory alive.
And just so you know, it's kind of all the question of how you get.
Yeah.
We did it every year. I thought that the Kansas Spring General, some other folks, see if we could legally do that in the registry. Certain families stand. So they didn't go ahead for that about 7 or 8 years ago. And I was back on here in school. My old son, more good friend. I know he struggled with all the time.
Yeah.
Everything, so I all the times that we maybe over the price here around
Sure.
25 years ago on.
Yeah.
We never applied. But I wanted to do it. I hope we will follow the plan.
Yeah.
Basically, $100.
And that comes from
Worthwhile.
an offender registry. I'm not sure if that makes the meeting, so people know it, that the money for the scholarship comes from an offender registry. So, and you got Attorney General permission to do it. It's a,
For 100 years. And they have to pay $20 quarterly,
okay,
but $8 you're free.
$8,000. All right.
And we also had a.
Uh-huh.
$3,000 scholarship to college.
Okay. So how many schools do you go to then in the county with this? Hiawatha and Horton. All right. Okay. Well, that's great. It's nice. I mean, it's a nice program. Really, really. I know the kids like it. Everybody likes, money, and those kids are in age, they don't know that man. They don't know who he was, but, they might ask some questions about him. Yes. That's a good deal. Thank you for that. Anything else? Are you ready? Could you go a little early? Here, or do you want us to go down the agenda and wait for 8:30?
Yeah.
Okay, all right. Okay, let's start with number one. That's the minutes from the last week's meeting. Everybody getting a hand of the Dropbox program too? Oh, the hang of it. Seems to be working pretty well. Nikki, you have any comments on that? Like it? Okay. All right. Any comments on the minutes? No?
For the 5:12, 5 minutes.
Or is there a second?
Second.
Case been moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
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 Okay, motion carried. Minutes done. Now we're looking at number 2 on the agenda is the payroll. Any questions or comments? Anything stand out here?
Approve the 5:14. Back table.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
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 All right, motion carried. We are marching down the list to the number 3, the revised comp time agreement.
I think that's something for us, to work on. I have recommended changes we like to came up with, so.
Okay,
What he's drafted and be ready for, review. and approval.
all right, is there any comment on this? Hey. So this met with your approval. I mean, I fully admit here that everybody looked at it, it's thumbs up. So pretty standard. They've made the changes. We're happy with it. I know we talked to Sheriff Merchant. I'm just gonna look at you. You had something about this comp time agreement.
Yes.
Is this, did you get to see what they come up with?
Yes, I got.
You're all good. Then. Okay, just wanted to make sure. Okay, well then, we'll need to, approve this.
Preference would be that. If you're possible.
And we'll know what to do with everything that happened before and then everything that happens after they sign. Is that right?
Question about any of the hours. So I mean, whichever way you go, I think it definitely is something that we will definitely affect. So if he gives me an opinion on retroactive or
Okay, so the preference, you have something?
So if you put it in effect now, will that affect anybody? That. Your problem with anybody?
Okay, so we can make it effective immediately. That'd be the preference. Okay. Now, can they do that electronically or do we send paper out there. Okay. Okay, well, I would, if there's no other, is there any other discussion on it? Anyone want to make a motion either way?
I'm going to approve the revised call time agreement.
Effective,
First of a month. In person.
it's been moved. Is there a second?
Second time.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
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 Okay, motion carried. Good job. Thank you for making that motion and thanks for explaining the start date. Okay, we can go on to number 4. We've got about 5 minutes here, which is the K-Camp roof analysis. One of the things we learned at our K-Camp commissioners training in January was there's some opportunity with them if we check some of the boxes on like preventative things or safety, stuff like that. We can get insurance cheaper. One of the things they had was this roof inspection program. And like Mr. Hill said, we got a lot of buildings with a lot of roofs. Do we participate in anything? Are we with Stanfield Roofing on an inspection type thing? Nobody? Okay. Have we ever done it? Has the board ever considered it?
I know it's supposed to learn it, I think.
Okay. Is that something the board would consider? Yes, I mean, K-Camp offers a discount. I don't know what discount off of what though. I mean, what the premium would be or what the price would be to have that inspection service.
Just offering to try to inspect it past the air.
The way I see it on page 2 of 2 at the top there, yeah, you're reading the same thing. Regular maintenance. Does the county currently contract with anyone to look at roofs or repair roofs other than on an as needed basis? I guess to be able. They do, okay.
So what part of our insurance goes to the roof part? I mean, sometimes I think we're almost overinsured. I mean, a metal roof, like I say, is lasts about 75 years. Unless it blows away, but then
Right, yeah. That,
even that one did, and how much it was, it cost to replace it, but it doesn't happen every year. I mean,
is there a number or how would we get the number of actually, what is the insurance premium on these buildings? I see values, but I can't see a premium card. Okay, so it's in there somewhere. All right, well, I guess I would entertain, if we had never done it in the past, you think they'd send somebody up to talk to us about this Stanfield Roofing and their maintenance program?
Yeah, I'd like to hear what they have to say.
Yeah. I mean, it's possible that it'd cost us a little money, but we might save it right back in insurance premium. Not really?
So the 40% discount provided to K-Camp for their service or discount.
I read it to say that since we're K-Camp members, Stanfield Roofing will give us a 40% break on their price to assist us in monitoring the condition and as well as provide the roof maintenance. I don't know. What do you think, Mr. Pollock? Give him a call?
it doesn't hurt to ask.
Okay. All right, I think that's what we'll do. Okay, thank you very much. And Mr. Hill, it's 8:30.
All right, I thought I'd start off explaining what I refer to as SINC cases, it's SINC or childhood care cases. I think those are probably the least known of what my position involves. So childhood care cases are cases where abuse or neglect in the home are alleged, and so that's typically something that law enforcement or DCF, which is Department of Children and Families, investigators are involved in. And a lot of times they involve removal from the home or at least monitoring. So what leads to some of those is either physical abuse, neglect. Unfortunately, a lot of cases where parents are addicted to methamphetamine or other drugs. So those cases are confidential, and that's why a lot of people aren't aware of it unless they have a family member that's been impacted or are involved in law enforcement. So those are confidential hearings, and those are a good barometer for how busy things can be in the office because of the fact that those just don't end like a criminal case. So criminal case, you're going to have a plea or a trial, sentencing, and then they're supervised. Child and care cases keep going because we'll have review hearings, we have permanency hearings. So on the more serious ones, it's not unusual to have 2 or 3 years of hearings on those cases. So those are usually on Tuesdays. Judge Burnett is our new judge on those. We'll have dockets with all those cases, sometimes up to 16, 17 pages. We start at 8:30 and oftentimes 3:30, 4 o'clock, before we get straight through. So those are very difficult and involved cases that I think require experience and some expertise in that area. What's not really known on those is that technically SINC cases, child and care cases, fall under county counseling. It's not really a good mix for county counseling, but they do fall under county counseling because of the fact that it's technically civil in nature. So a lot of places will contract that with the county attorney and have the county attorney handle that part of it. So I'm not getting any younger, which may well be my last term. And so looking towards the future for replacement, what's in the budget, what's paid now is, in my opinion, not going to attract somebody that's going to be interested. So I gave some comparisons to some other counties that are and what they're paying, and our district is 4 counties, and so in our district, Marshall County is probably closest to what Brown County is like, and so I have on a sheet for you. Marshall County is currently paying $99,948 for the county attorney position, for the prosecution. And then they have an assistant county attorney that handles child and care cases, and that's at $68,000. And then on top of that, they have a county counselor that does what, when I come in and advise submission and get various phone calls from county offices on civil matters, employment matters, contractual matters. That's county counselors. They have a separate person that does that as well on that page 40. Nemaha has lesser cases, but right now they're paying $79.70 for those 2 positions. They hired somebody from outside the area to do county counseling, and just like with medicine, you're not going to have a pediatrician do cardiology. I mean, there's certain areas of the law that requires some specialty and some expertise, and they're finding out the hard way that somebody that may have experience with zoning and planning may not have that experience in child and care cases. And those are important because those are our most vulnerable people that are involved in child and care cases. So my understanding, they're revisiting that, they're looking at carving that out.
So what are the issues then?
Just the handling of cases and not having the background necessary to do those.
Okay.
For the victims and the children that are involved. I think they are looking at changing that. The counties that pay for SINC, the lowest around would be 40,000. is the lowest I've heard. Usually it's mid-40s and 50 to have an attorney that handles nothing but child care cases. So Jackson, way above. Even Washington County, which is half our size, currently has 98 for this position. So they're currently paying 178 for what they're paying. So we are substantially lower than area counties, most of which have a lower child care caseload. So what I was proposing is to have the carve out the same, make that part of county attorney for the amount of 42,000, which is on the low end. I think others are paying 50 or so for something we do just those. But 42 as part of county attorney to be added to that, and then have like a $25,000 county counseling that would strictly do advising the county commission on matters and answering inquiries from other county offices. I think it's very likely that whoever takes this position next will not going to do all three roles. And so I have somebody who has expressed some interest in trying to learn the ropes. That would be somewhat local, but other counties are also talking to this individual. And so if he would be willing to start to learn county counseling role for that 25, I would certainly be up to having that individual contract for that position with the county. And I can continue doing that. But if we had somebody who wanted to step in, or you all had somebody who wants to step in to advise, that's something that could be, I don't know if that frankly would be enough, but I think for a start, it would be a good thing like that. So yes, it's going to be higher than last year's, but kind of been on the low end anyway compared to what's happened. I know I think you have a 5-year average that I saw in the packet. It's 5-year average, so we've had an increase with child care cases, crime, things like that. So during the 5 years, the sheriff's office has gone up, just the office itself, 43%. So it's gone from 758 to 1,090,000. Sheriff's office dispatch has gone from 382 to 613. There's 60% increase, and then the jail it's gone from 564 to 781. So past 5 years, you've had 43%, 60%, 38%. Not saying that's not justified. I mean, it's great work. What I'm trying to point out is that that increase was needed for the sheriff's department. Those cases go somewhere. Those cases kind of made as county attorney and as the child care attorney. So that's just the nature. I know Bill's asked why that is. There's, I think, a lot of reasons for that, but I'm just dealing with the reality of that increases with that. So you have a limited attorney pool around in this area. And so I think to get somebody that would be interested right now with us being below Marshall, substantially below Marshall and below Omaha, those attorneys in this area will likely look elsewhere. And I know Marshall Omaha is going to be looking for a new county attorney in the next year, 2 years, because their attorney's about the same age as I am. He's already talked about stepping down. So that's kind of where we're at right now. So I think it would be a mistake to keep seats with whoever would come in as county counselor, because there's not many like what Liver might have done. We've kind of growing with the job. There's not a lot of people that do zoning and planning work or contract work or point work who also would be able to trial work, investigative work for child care cases. You want to keep somebody good in that position because, like I said, that's our most vulnerable population, our children who have child care cases. Then just quickly on Marcy. Marcy's been, she started, can't tell you how many years. She's got well over 20 years experience and is respected throughout the district. She has other administrative assistants from other counties call her for help quite often. So she's able to do what Jackson County has for doing for her purposes. not enough that it's what. Less than right. In a nutshell, I mean, attorneys can make obviously a lot more in private practice, and you make more in private practice, I do it because I just feel calm to prosecute, I feel calm to help vulnerable people, and especially children, that's near and dear to my heart. Like I mentioned in here, I've been recognized for the work on child abuse and neglect by state agency as one of the top child abuse and neglect prosecutors in the state. Been asking for the conferences with Children's Mercy and KU on that issue, so I think we want to try to get people to know what they're doing in that area, so they help protect them.
Would you help me through this?
Okay.
So I see and I read, and what I did was I'm just trying to make a current and a proposed. So currently as the county attorney, you're $86,040.
Yeah.
And you're whatever suggesting or asking that it goes up to the Marshall County,
Had to do it with the market,
which is 99,948.
yes,
Okay, so then there,
and Washington's paying.
Okay,
I think you need to be in that area.
I'm just trying to put the, but this county attorney portion is just part of it. So then you go down to county counselor.
Yeah.
And currently it's at 40,840.
48 and that includes civil for the county, kind of what people typically think of county counseling,
Uh-huh.
and it includes child care cases.
Okay, so that's where I got a little mixed up. So then proposed, what's that number gonna be?
So the proposal on that is to split out, so you would have sync at the rate of 42,000. And then that would just be included as sync prosecutor
Okay,
or sync attorney within the county attorney. I think the same person could do that. That job, so that would be sync attorney at 42, and then county counselor 25.
okay.
And that could be a separate person.
Okay, that's the thing.
And that's what I'm hoping, if that's approved, I can try to bring in somebody, and if, like I said, may not be enough, I haven't spoken to this person, but somebody that has expressed interest, younger attorney that has expressed some interest. Other attorneys right now, frankly, when asked informally if they're interested or not, because they make more in private practice, but not as much work.
All right. Punching the check.
So basically you're saying put the sync cases in with the county attorney.
Yeah. Just have that amount, and that attorney could either do both if they have the experience, or if they wanted to bring somebody in. The going rate for people to come in and do syncs, the low end's 40, and then between 40 and 50 is what people are beginning paid to do job care cases, so. If you look on the contract that we have, this is, I think it's 36 for the attorneys appointed to the represent parents in those cases. So if you look at that, they're taking probably 1/3 of the cases that sync attorneys are taking. They're at 36, I think. So we're paying the contract for 30.
It's 35 a month, I think.
What's that?
It's 35.
That's right.
And so those people take some of the child need care cases or?
No, so each child need care case, the state brings the case, so the state's involved in helping investigate, reviewing, and then filing. For each case, a parent has, kind of like with criminal defense, where we have right to attorney, in each sync case, parents have the right to an attorney, court-appointed attorney, so those contract attorneys are appointed for each parent. And usually they can't represent both parents because the parents are not on the same page, so.
So you have to
Then
have
you
two of
have
them.
an attorney for the child as well, and that's called a guardian ad litem. So
So that's what Miss Olson does.
What that,
Miss Olson does it.
yeah.
For the
yeah,
child?
that's what she currently does. That's
Okay.
so guardian ad litem, just like the guardian ad litem is kid's attorney. But having said that, they're not defending the kid, they're representing what they believe to be the child's best interest, which may not always be what the child is wanting to do. So She does that, and then the contract attorneys are for the parents. The reason, like I said, the reason a lot of people aren't familiar with what happens there with closed hearings, confidential hearings, so. They didn't want to see one unless it had a family member involved.
So you said they go on for several years. What determines when they end?
It depends on the circumstances. So when they're able to be reintegrated with the parent, then the parent is shown the drug-free, safe environment, all that type of stuff, then the court can terminate jurisdiction. In extreme cases, we actually terminate parental rights, which is a extreme nature, but those usually involve a lengthy trial. So we have rules of evidence, and then always an appeal after that, which is more time to it. So while on appeal, appeals can take, by the time they get the briefs on appeal, here it's usually a year or so. So I mean, appeal delay sometimes up to 14, 15, 16 months. And during that time, we still have hearings to look at what's happening. And then there's various federal requirements, state requirements, permanency hearings. So in other words, somebody just can't languish in foster care. You have to have permanency hearing to show whether active progress is being made with a lot of pressure. So like I said, it's really involved stuff. So more and more people kind of specialize in same cases. So there's some rules, regs, and laws.
Is there a certain age that they terminates?
So you
automatically?
age out at 18 unless you're still in school, and then it could be summer after. And then under those circumstances, go past age 21. So there are rare circumstances, say it's a special needs child who, capacity wise isn't of an adult age, has no caregivers, they may wait until 21. So they're generally 18.
Those are good questions. One of the hard parts about your office is that people really we don't know what you're doing. Yeah. I mean, is there any way that people can see, I mean, anonymously, like how many cases you're doing, like child in need care per year? Is there any way to say like, hey, I did 87 of these?
The total numbers aren't as accurate because this year we're dealing with cases from 2 years ago, probably, whereas we'll start off with it. So, I mean, I used to provide the commission with a docket and then the names have to be confidential. I mean, longer have that. So, I mean, I would tell people we do some child care cases are we too. So, somebody goes upstairs and said, well, we have to go with judges at his office, we're in our office. And we do them via Zoom. That started with COVID, and they found that more parents were participating with Zoom than they did before. And it's been, from the court standpoint, it's beneficial to have more court involvement. I think it also helped us. We used to have a whole hallway full. I'm sure that we can remember before when we hear our participants and parties up in the court. A lot of emotions involved, and we hear the noise going down the side for the door because of the emotions that get involved with some of them. So now, yeah, those are.
So how do we, so on this is admittedly the first budget thing I want to go through here, and it's not going to be an excuse very much longer, but just want to ask, so we're looking at about a $44,000 increase. Am I correct? Approximately, just doing the math.
Whatever's on that, yeah.
So, how do I, so we have like a 5-year look back or 4-year look back on people on like your budgets,
Yeah.
but how do we justify this beyond that? Okay, so we're behind our surrounding counties on similar jobs for pay. We're behind. So you've shown that with the list of the 5 counties. So how do, when someone asks me, or even when I have the question, all right, boy, that's a pretty big increase. Did your caseload increase commensurate to that? You know, are you saying like year to year, are we handling more child in need of care cases? Are we just trying to catch up because we're
I
behind?
think both, again, what I point people to is just the sheriff's office, increase just because of the increase in factors and like I said, I know Bill asked about that a lot. I have my thoughts on that, but it doesn't really matter what's my thoughts on why we had an increase. It's just the fact that we deal with. So, I mean, that's what I would show is that we've had that increase the past 5 years. I've been able to rely some on, other things to help fund things over the years, but, that's not sustainable. You know, our capital expenditures are gonna run out, so, it's just, and like Lloyd said, he'd rather have what your set things are within your budget. So that's why, but yeah, I would just point to the fact, those factors that have required increases with the sheriff's office, likewise with mine. We need good people in these jobs, and so this isn't necessarily, for me, since my time is, I'm a dinosaur, not many people can stay with this job for 3 years, so I do it because I said it's, I could make more money, doing private practice, but after work, and I like what I do, I feel like I contribute. It's rewarding to me when I have kids now, and you talk about graduation, I'll get calls from parents and, adopted parents that were fostering kids and were in terrible situations, and that just warms my heart when I see they're graduating, going on to college, getting married. I mean, I love hearing from people, keeping you up to date on how things are going. So that's why I keep doing it. It's a really worth job. And I juggle it. I think somebody mentioned it'd be hard for somebody to start like I am doing now, fresh, and do what I'm doing. I've grown over the years, but I think you found I'm responsive. If you have a question, I'm able to answer and get back to people. I get calls all out of the night from law enforcement deputies with certain questions, arrest questions, and legal questions, but all out. Answering those for somebody. I started 30 years ago.
Is this part of the budget process? This is the presentation.
So this presentation, for us to explain what we're looking at and answer questions like we're doing, and then you all get together, and I think there are several.
When does the negotiation start? You're kind of the back and forth. Do you do that now, or do we have another time where we kind of meet and I ask you like specific?
It's up to you. I mean, this time's I can answer whatever questions with what I have, or if you mull it over, you guys can always call us back in to discuss more. We have more feel of what everything's looking at.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
I think once we get everybody. The big picture.
yeah, then
Versus just have one right now.
Sure, sure.
And see where everybody else is falling. That's part of it. 28, we're hearing the rest of them, you get it.
yeah, so I was already
That's
scheduled.
why I
Yeah,
want to like, let's do
it's
it.
definitely fit me in here. So,
Okay.
but yeah, the rest of 28.
Okay.
And I don't think it's uncommon to call people back in if you have questions or if you want to visit with them at that point in time. So June's usually when we do that or not.
Real big, so.
It's just informational for me, but if it's possible, I'd like to see something. Because again, I mean, I know you and we interact here, but I'm not sure what else you do.
Sure.
And is there any way you could come up with something that was just pretty simple, but just, hey, I did this many cases?
Yeah, I
about
can.
this, and just like a spread, just something neat.
I think I've mentioned this is maybe my most visible thing that I do, but this is the county counseling. This would be in a time comparison, this is a very small part of what I do. So the things obviously are the biggest part of that. And that's why I think it's better idea to take that out. If you want to attract somebody that could come in and do what you think of as county counseling, what most people think of as county counseling, I think you think part of that out. That's what other counties have done. That's what we're looking at. I mean, Marshall County does that. That's why they have their county counselor does nothing but advise the commission.
Okay.
Offices, and they pay 40 for that, plus an additional 8,000 in tax sales. So 47 on the years they have tax sales, but they pay just for what you think of as county counseling. For the others, they're paying at 68,000 for for safety and to help on
Mhm.
years, things like that, so.
So what I'm after really is just trying to shed some light on what does Kevin Hill, county prosecutor, county counselor, what does he do that maybe people don't know? You know, because you're asking for a 30% increase, give or take, just in my head math. So that's a pretty big increase. And I imagine there'll be some questions from just the general public when they see that. Because if we don't know and we work here and we're in there, you know, maybe there's a lot of folks that actually don't know the time you're spending, the cases you're looking at. Nothing super.
No, until I could get that, I think, like I said, the explanation would be that during the past 5 years, we've had 60%, 43%, 38% increase from the sheriff's office over that. Mine has not, and this is more to catch you up with Marshall, Demaha, or I was shocked when I saw Washington, what they pay. This is to catch you up there, because like I said, this is possibly my last term, and just an informal discussion amongst people that would be eligible to apply. There's no interest because
Sure.
pay it, right?
Sure. So understood.
It's more me looking out for the county in the long run, because I don't want to leave it bad position.
But you're wanting me to tie it in because we've increased the sheriff's budget so much and so much and so much. So you think the county attorney's budget should be increased commensurate with that?
Not necessarily, I'm just saying if it justified raising them because of increases in crime, things like that. Those cases go somewhere, and that's where they're going.
Well, will you, and just for the sake of, I guess, appeasing me, will you come up?
Yeah, I can give you
Just
some
something
figures.
that, because I'd really like to know and just see what just see something. on there.
Sure, yeah, I can do that.
You're a busy guy and I just need a little more,
Sure, no problem.
but wonderful. Any more
All right.
questions?
Okay.
Thank you very much. Okay. Well, have a good rest of your day.
All right, good.
Thank you very much. Okay, here we go. Now we have a 9 o'clock. And you're here. Are you ready to come just a few minutes early? Okay, perfect. Well, come on up. Now, you've been here before.
I
but it's
have
a
been
while.
here before, yes. I had been talking with Nikki about the neighborhood revitalization plan when I realized that that was coming due or expiring in 2025. So we had been talking back and forth about it. I know you have been talking about it here. And then she reached out and asked if I would just come and talk a little bit about what exactly the neighborhood revitalization plan does for Brown County and what some of the benefits are to renewing that. So I brought you guys some handouts you can follow along with. We don't have to do this formally, so feel free to interject and ask questions as we go through this, but this may be helpful for you to just have as a reference as we leave too, if you have questions on it. So essentially, Brown County has a neighborhood revitalization plan that has been in place. The current one for the last 10 years, getting ready to expire. In general, what an NRP is just a local tool that is utilized to encourage investment into properties within our county. So it can be homes, can be businesses, commercial buildings. The incentive is to essentially create some support locally for people to invest in those properties while also strengthening the tax base for Brown County and increasing the property values. It does offer a temporary tax rebate on new value that's created. So it's not, the rebate is not for the existing tax that's paid. It's only on anything new that would be generated as a result. It promotes homegrown investment versus waiting on outside investment. And so that's a really big thing. One thing we've noticed in trying to get a housing development over the last few years, it's really difficult to get somebody from the outside to come to Brown County who's familiar with utilizing incentives from the state level. So having something locally in place that local citizens, it's easy for them to head up to the appraiser's office and retrieve an application. That's easy for local people to use, really puts us in a better position to make improvements to our community instead of relying on someone else to come do that for us. The main thing I think to realize about the NRP is that it's not a giveaway, it is an investment tool. So as I mentioned, the tax rebates that apply, they are temporary and they are on the new improvements only. So the existing property tax that comes in for properties, that remains the same. That's still generated, that's still paid every year. The rebate is only on the new improvements that would be made as a result. The county doesn't lose any existing revenue. It just simply defers that income for a period of time. In our case, it's 5 years based upon the Brown County plan. Only qualifying and approved projects benefit from it. So it's not just a giveaway. Appraisals, the appraiser's office reviews the application. And those that meet the requirements are eligible to utilize the program. There really is no risk to having an NRP program. There's nothing required from the county up front. There's no financial requirement. Most counties lack tools and resources to incentivize housing and business improvements, which I think is also the case here locally for us. And NRPs really help to create a tool for people to be able to do that. The developer must first invest and improve the property before rebates are ever applied or ever processed. So it can't be something where somebody applies, takes the money and run. They're only available once the work is done and the construction is complete, and then the rebates can be issued. Moving along, the NRPs offer long-term revenue growth. So typically when projects come in, what is seen is that the value increases on their properties by at least 2 times, many times much more than that, which is a positive thing for the tax base. After the rebate period, the county then collects those higher taxes permanently. So it's simply deferring it for whatever amount of time is agreed upon. What's in place now is 5 years. So those taxes on the new improvements are deferred for 5 years. And then after that 5 years is up, those taxes are paid at normal rate. Without the plan, a lot of properties wouldn't be improved. And then obviously that's not good for your tax base that, allows those revenues to really stay flat. So what we hear a lot of times about NRPs that people have common concerns about, if they don't yet understand exactly what an NRP is, we're giving away tax money. Why would we do a rebate and encourage people to pay less taxes? That's not what it is. It is a temporary rebate. I've said this already several times, but just on the new value. So it doesn't diminish any current taxes that you're already receiving. You continue to receive those. Cost is another thing. Typically when participating in a program, there's an assumption that it costs something to do so. In this case, that is not the case. There's no cost to participate in the program, no upfront cost to the county, and then taxes remain the same. Developers will take the money and run is another thing that people have said. And again, that's not possible because the rebates cannot be issued until the work is already done and completed. Of it. I'll talk about that here in a second, but it brings us to Brown County's plan and what that looks like. If you're not familiar with it, essentially, the way Brown County's is set up is that there is a minimum amount be eligible to apply for this. It would have to increase the value by 15%. The rebate is made after all the taxes are paid in full. And then it's calculated as an increase in the amount of property tax directly resulting from the construction.
I was under the impression that it was $15,000, but it's 15%. 15,000 somewhere.
Yeah, 15,000 something.
You're right. It is 15,000. Yes, sorry. That's just my
So the
typo when I
percent-
put it together.
That's all right.
Yeah, you are correct. So 15,000. The county does retain 5% of the services for that on each rebate transaction as well. And then the way our schedule is set up for Brown County is it is a 5-year schedule. So it is 75% for each year. And then following that, it would fall off and it would be paid at the normal rate
So that's 75% of the increase.
of the increase. Correct.
So the
Not
base is still
total.
there. It's the increase. All right.
Yes.
Okay,
Mhm.
thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Any other questions about that and the specifics of our plan? Okay, so local utilization, I just did a quick ask from the appraiser's office on how this has been utilized in the last 10 years in Brown County. There have been 149 projects that have been approved. So I don't even know how many have been applied for, but that is the amount that have been approved. The total projects, investments, estimated to be $39 million in improvements to buildings, whether that be new construction or improvements to current properties that already exist. So as you can see, it is something that has been really heavily utilized within the county. I think people are well aware of it. We field a lot of questions about it, certainly. When we were talking, I'm still talking with our developer, that was one of the things on our applications that we submitted for the duplex development that we're trying to achieve. As one of the things that he asked about right away is, do we have a neighborhood revitalization plan and what is it? And we did utilize it on those first couple of applications.
The 39 million, that's for in the 10-year period too.
10 years, yes. So essentially, just kind of wrap this up, what the NRP does, it just attracts development that may otherwise not happen in our county. It increases the property values and then the long-term tax base growth. And one critical thing that it does is it improves the housing and the business stock. So this is a small aging community, as are all the others around us. And so any tools that we have locally that can improve the buildings that we already have and then add new for homes and jobs is a positive thing. It helps bring businesses to town. It helps people live here, want to stay here, retire here, move back here after they leave. All the things that I think are common goals that our office has, and I'm assuming that the county would have as well. The NRP is something that is a no-cost tool that helps to contribute towards those things. And then lastly, I just wanted to reiterate, have in support of this. This is something, like I said, we talk a lot about, we get a lot of calls about and direct them to the appraiser's office for the application. I did a quick check. Essentially, all of the communities surrounding Brown County have neighborhood revitalization plans in place as well. So Donovan, Atchison, Jackson, Nemaha, Marshall, all have revitalization plans. Most of theirs are 7 to 10 years. Ours is 5. When and if you decide to renew the NRP, that's something that can be looked at as well. If you're happy with the 5-year plan at 75%, many of them go 7 to 10 years. And if they do that, it's usually on a sliding scale. So they'll start maybe 95% year 1 and then decrease as it goes throughout. They're down to usually not below 50% is where they end. So all of that to say, there's options if you want to look at making edits to it for the next 10 years.
Question.
Yes.
So every year the property values, they're reappraised and they change. So we're working on the 75%.
Mhm.
Does that number stay static? Is that the first year, the increase, and then they take 75% off of that number for the 5 years? Or does it, as the property value continues to escalate, is it 75% of the real value
Yes.
every year?
Yes.
Okay.
The real value every year. So
Okay.
if you had, it could even go the other way, which it probably rarely happens, but it does point that out in the application. If it goes down,
Okay.
then that would affect the amount as
Okay.
well. Yes. Good question.
So if you make a $100,000 improvement. And then a few years later, they determine it was worth $150,000, they get a bigger. The rebate increases,
Correct.
I mean, whatever the refund or whatever,
Correct. Yes.
but how do they determine? How's the appraiser determine that portion increase that much, not the whole? So they,
I don't know. That would be a question for the appraiser's
Sure.
office.
Yeah, that's a good question.
that's usually you don't say this, the porch is worth this and this room's worth this, and I mean, at least we don't see that part. You can see it's your house is worth so much. I don't know, that's
You ask really tough questions.
sorry.
He's known for that.
Yes, not my first time here.
Sorry.
Yeah, I think though, if, I think we could find that out when the appraiser's office. I just don't know that off the top of my head.
Do you feel like, sorry, go ahead.
No, one of my concerns is that you gotta apply for it before you even start. doing
Correct.
anything. And how many people that don't. How many people don't take advantage of it because. I mean, that's their problem, I guess, but it's kind of,
How do we advertise this better, that it exists, so people that want to invest in their own property
Mhm.
can take advantage of something like this? Because quite a few folks are building or
Mhm.
adding on or remodeling, and they don't even know it exists. And so they come in, they say, well, you know, my property, well, you could have done the NRP, and like, well,
but you already done your,
Yeah,
done the ditch, so
it's
you're
too
done.
late.
Right. I mean, we can certainly do that for you. We can help market it. We can get it out on our social media. We can put it into a press release that goes out to the public and both the papers or in the papers in Brown County. Just to get more visibility to it. That's something that we can help with. For sure.
Why is it set up that way? Where it can't be retroactive, where a person has to file for it? Is there some sort of,
I don't know, but I do know that it is the same across all counties. So we've got to comply with whatever, yes, whatever those stipulations are. So it's not something we can change here.
but the percentage and the term are things that can be changed. Percentage
Yes.
Reduction in the term of the program.
Correct. That's up to the county to decide what you want the term to look like as far as the rates.
It's a 5-year plan. How did you-
That was all that's already in place. Already in place.
Hasn't changed. It hasn't changed.
Yeah, it's been for the last time it was renewed was in 2016 for
Doesn't
10
need to change?
years. I will say, well, if you're looking at just local people and improvements, 75% for 5 years is probably a good incentive. If you're looking at attracting a developer to come in and build like housing or an apartment complex on a larger scale, other than just, a single property, typically they're going to go where rebates are bigger. So 7 to 10 years, starting at 95% on a sliding scale is more common for outside developers to be attracted to. So it just kind of depends on.
Okay,
what
run
you're
through
looking
that
at.
scenario out loud here.
Mhm.
If a developer wants to build a new project, it's brand new construction on an empty lot.
Mhm.
What will and we have this current NRP. Or we have the dream one, whatever you would want.
Mhm.
So if they're starting from zero and they get a 95% reduction, that's based on the current real value of whatever they built.
Correct.
So if it's worth $1 million, we're gonna tax them on the $50,000 that value. Is that right?
Correct.
Okay,
Yes.
okay, but that'd be a sliding scale, and then next year they'd tax them on 100 or, and so on and so.
Right.
Okay, so if we wanted to target big time development,
Mhm.
or whatever that is more, can we change something in here specifically to address that? Can we categorize is what I'm saying? Can we have one for like new project, brand new construction? Can we have something different for remodeling? Can we have something different for retrofitting, whatever or does it all have to be the same?
I believe you can. I haven't seen specific plans that break it into those categories, but I have seen plans that break it into different percentages based whether it's a commercial property or a residential property.
Okay.
So I'll need to verify, but I'm assuming you would be able to, since I've already seen ones that have different percentages for similar types of breakdowns.
I think doing something like that would make sense.
I think it would be a lot more enticing for someone from the outside. If you look at some of the bigger counties that use their revitalization plans, they're at basically 95% for 10 years. Some of them that aren't, but these are our biggest counties. And then typically what you see, I think, and maybe it's either Nemaha or I want to say it's Nemaha, but I'd have to double check. They start at 95 and I believe that's for a couple of years and then it's 85 and going down beyond that. So that's more common for counties our size, I would say,
Okay.
to utilize. And you can also have them, not to complicate this process further,
Complicated.
but you can also have it at a county level, and then also community level.
Okay.
So Nemaha does that, they have a county program, and then Seneca and Sabetha
City
also has. city program.
Well, I got a question. Like across the street here, I don't know what they've been doing on the roofs, but they've been doing a lot. How would that fit in? Does that? I mean, it's not really making the buildings any more useful, but it's preserving them.
Correct, yes.
So,
That would be eligible, provided that it would be the minimum of the $15,000.
yeah, so I don't know that that'd make the building any more valuable if it had, a roof to roof.
Well, it would keep, we've seen what's happened to those though that haven't had repairs on the roof, so
Right,
it would
so-
keep them usable for
Right,
sure.
so, but that's a pretty important part too.
Yes,
I mean, it's nice to build new stuff, but you gotta keep up your roof.
right.
You're here and I like the complicated because it more than likely that's what'll happen. Say, how do we in Horton, what if Horton attracts a new business? And we have a program where property taxes are 95%, we reduce. We get a new business there, it needs streets, it needs water, it needs sewer, it needs. So the county says, all right, we're not gonna have any. Basically property tax revenue to get the infrastructure built. Does that just fall on the city then? Is that just, we just dump it on them? We don't help them at all?
Well, that'd probably be something you work together on that. I mean, there are things that, like, for example, the city could pursue for those types of
Same.
things.
Okay,
It's something different, but like, that's what the housing development we're looking at right now. There's something called an RHAD program, which essentially that is what that's used for those type of expenses, which would be different than what we're talking
so
about
to do
here.
this and do it right, do we need to get the city in here and talk about it?
If that's something that we wanted to look at and look at making it more applicable to specific communities as well as. the
Like for
county, we
Hefit,
would want to do that.
is that something you want to talk about?
I think it could be beneficial. Yes, we would need, obviously, the cities, the participating cities to be on board with that as well.
So do you speak for the city?
No,
You just speak for Hefit?
yes, yes.
I got one more question.
Uh-huh.
So this reduction in the taxes, is that just on what? For the county's budget, or is that apply to the city's budget and the school district's budget, all those things too?
Participate in it.
Not everybody. Not everybody is in that part.
There's a lot of moving parts to this.
It is a fairly complicated process to renew, and that is why I reached out so early to Nikki about it. I will fully say I was not here 10 years ago when it was renewed, so it would be. It's new for me to understand exactly what we go through to renew it. I think new for Nikki. Luckily, there's a lot of counties around us that we can work with and get, feedback from them on how that's done. And I think Nikki's got a good resource too. But it is a substantial process to renew it.
Way for you back with recommendations, like to see change to it.
I can do that.
The county, the city,
Yes,
that you can bring back to us.
yes.
We can sit here and throw lots of
Hypotheticals, yeah.
But is there something, specific, because you're working at every day, is there something that hey, we did this, and this, we think we have a better chance of getting it developed?
Sure. Yes, I can do that. Really, today was just to kind of all get on the same page with what we have and what's possible. And if that's something that you guys would be interested in, I can certainly work on that and bring something back to you all.
Put this together, Mr. Press.
Yes,
Very good. He's answered a lot of questions we
Thank
had that we asked 2 meetings ago. Thanks. So that's great. Wonderful.
Good.
What's our timeline again?
what's the deadline for application tiering?
End of year.
So, but we would want to be, yes, working on it as soon as possible. Yes. It's not going to be a quick project to renew.
Yeah, okay. I wrote a bunch of questions. You answered. I think you answered most of them. Is there an extra cost to facilitate this thing? Do we have,
No.
there's not staff time? I mean,
Well, I
Just-
mean, I don't know from the appraiser's office how much legwork is involved on the back end as far as applications, so that's something I can't speak to.
Okay.
But as far as, you know, an upfront cost to say, we want to have an NRP, no, there isn't one.
I would love to know how we get this word. I mean, if we decide to update this thing or renew it, how we get the word out to more people so that somebody doesn't start construction and then find out that they were eligible, but now you no longer are, which ties into the second thing. It'd be nice to have a window of opportunity for folks who fall in that category of, yeah, they turned a little dirt, but they really haven't started hardcore in construction here. Could they still be eligible?
I don't think so.
It just doesn't work that.
I think that's something that we don't have
That's too
control
bad.
over changing. I
Okay.
can double check and see with the appraiser to see if that's something, but the way it's written, I guess, from what I read in the requirements, it's,
And one, something in there about, you know, doing the, if we're upgrading the land to get it prepped for building, when we hadn't started building process. I'm not.
You
it seemed
can't-
like there was something.
I'll double check. What I've always been told is you can't turn any dirt. Like, once you do, that makes you ineligible, but I'll look it up. Yeah, I'll talk to.
So yeah, and other, not turn your dirt if you even talk to a contractor or something, is that too, gone too far or?
No, it's breaking ground or starting,
Okay. so
actually making actual changes to the property
or if you
itself.
bought materials for him,
Yeah,
Remember that first nail, I think you got.
yeah, like a,
probably.
yeah, physical activity on the,
Well, like a lot of things at the county level, we need to inform and educate folks about what, you know, their options are or for some reason, where there's a disconnect, an information gap between here and outside. And I wonder how we bridge that. I mean, you mentioned social media. Do you do that often?
yes, I mean, we have a social media site that we.
Okay.
promote. It's on,
I mean,
yeah,
yeah, if you got time, throw it out. And to Mr. Limpool, his point there, that's wonderful. If you could come back, kind of ask around, talk to your people and see what suggestions are for improvement to the one we have. If we're gonna renew it, I mean, if that's the thinking, we just as well enhance it and make it better.
yeah, I will definitely work on it and talk to our board about it as well and get some more brains on this and put something together and I can bring it back to you all to discuss and
Sure,
provide feedback on. Sure.
why not?
All right.
Another option is. Well, it's all right.
Throw a wrench in, go for it.
If you didn't have this plan, then there would be more tax money available, so everybody would pay a little bit lower taxes. And in the long run, everybody be on the same page. It wouldn't. That should be an incentive to come here too,
Mhm.
Just a low base rate.
right?
Sure.
What we really would love to see, and it may be impossible, is to quantify. We did X amount of improvement in this county because of NRP. Have it here, it's listed. But is that the reason they built, or was that just, I was gonna build anyway, I just as well get the reduction? Because
That's gone.
to your point, but that's probably really, really difficult. I mean, it's impossible to figure that out.
Yeah, that would be hard to capture.
Yeah. A low property tax county, I would think would be a magnet in and of itself to draw in, but if we're going, Brown County is surrounded, you know, on all four sides by counties that are in this program. And if we choose not to, I would imagine that people would figure that out
Right.
and go a different direction.
So think long term, then think.
Yeah.
short term problem.
Yeah.
Okay, well, this has been wonderful. Did you get all your questions answered? Thank you
Okay.
very much.
Thank you.
Really, and we look forward to you coming back,
Yes.
just make an appointment and when you got some new information, present it to us and we will look forward to seeing you.
Thank you for your time.
Have a good day.
You too.
Right. Good question. Good. Very good. Okay, moving along. Looks like we are on item number 5, which is the BCDS solid waste.
Yeah.
I don't see.
We didn't have anything on that, did
I
we?
mean, it's not on the list here.
No.
Was that what I mailed? Okay, so that's me. Here's from me. So I learned with Mr. Pounds a month or so ago that we have a kind of an informal policy at the county landfill to take the trash from BCS. And the landfill has been absorbing that cost. So we've tasked Mr. Pounds with making the landfill profitable. And that was about $7,000, give or take, the last year, I believe. I'm looking at, I think that's close, 7,000, 7,900, something like that. What are we gonna do about that here? This is me. I don't think it's right for us to dump that on the dump. Maybe the commissioners need to look at developing some sort of policy that addresses that. A lot of money. My concern is the volume of trash, high volume of garbage delivered from that entity to the landfill. If it's just an open policy, are we encouraging proper stewardship with stuff, as far as what's garbage and what's not? If it's free to get rid of, only a lot of stuff becomes garbage. So I would like to have some sort of policy here that, and I don't want to do it midterm because I don't think that'd be very fair to BCDS, but we need to address it and we need to discuss it.
So my question is, how many people just put their stuff out there? And let them take it to something, so and them take it to something. So,
That's what I'm thinking. That's what I'm thinking.
because they're,
In county, out of county, are we just subsidizing? Are we subsidizing trash removal? And if so, I don't want to do that. I don't want to do it. But I don't want to put them in a box.
Some of that, yeah, because once you find anybody that has yard stuff done, everything goes there.
That's right.
So they don't. That's right. So, I mean, there's a certain amount that it's just. They don't take it inside, they toss.
Do we have the ability as a commission to, in order to protect our landfill and keep his, again, back to the point where it's hard for that place to be in the black if we ask them to subsidize. I mean, it's essentially a charitable expense. If
I
we,
like what they do.
well, it's nothing to that. Yeah.
Make sure it's just. that-
Yeah. It's not a comment on the organization of the group. It's just financially and trying to be good stewards. Can we address that as a commission and say, hey, we're halfway through the year, give or take. If you had $7,000 in trash the year before, and I think we're $3,000 into that already. I think Dawn's come up with 27 or 2,900. Can we put a dollar figure on to close the year out and then address this in our budget for next year?
I won't see. Does it want to about? If either where it's coming to the budget.
Uh-huh.
We thought it was once a week to put that dumpster out. Get it? She thought it was an agreement with the county 25 years ago or more. They want to increase their appropriation and then. Stuff like that out there and not burn them.
Okay,
So
25 years ago.
over.
So there's an appropriation,
Yeah,
Sure.
that's right.
the agreement, the document. Okay, so what I have here, and this came from Dawn, and this is, you're welcome to a copy of it. Watch just some notes. So as of 2024, or last year, 2024, he found $7,078, give or take, by 5 cents there. Landfill going to BCDS. So they dumped a little over $7,000 in trash. As of May 5th of this year, they're at 2787 in trash. So
Next 2 months are the biggest. I mean, biggest time right now is from spring through the summer with all of these drugs.
okay, so my goal in bringing this up, again, just to restate, is I want to take this off the landfill's back. I really don't feel like that, or that's unfair to. Never mind. I don't like, that's not a good business practice, just to expose them to that kind of unknown cost. Okay, so we have an agreement with BCDS. I don't want to back up from that, but I would like to put a hard dollar figure on that to encourage trash to go to the dump, but good stuff to go elsewhere. So I'd like to see a dollar figure. Can that be done? Can it be done like if we said June 1st, you've got a certain amount of dollars worth of trash to finish the year out, and we're gonna talk about this. That's what I think. What do you?
Okay, dollar, you got this many dollars.
Close the year, so we don't put them in a bucket. Because they operate this year with the expectation of being able to get rid of that stuff, so I don't want to surprise them.
Right. Well, I want to support them. I think they do good out there.
Yeah.
But I'm not sure how to separate. How do you control what they, now somebody's there when the people bring their stuff and say, yes, we can use this, but we can't use this. You take it back home and we'll.
Okay, so how do you address that? That's an excellent point. Well, I believe they have cameras. I believe there's signs up that says no trash. And I also
Oh,
believe,
so it's not just trash, it's, I mean, I don't know how much of it is just trash, but some of it's not very,
Well, it's just that the stuff that you can't resell. But people bring it there. To get rid of it.
Mhm. When people like to recycle, I mean, I think they're probably people think they're doing a good job, good thing.
they might, yeah. Yeah, but if it just goes to landfill,
And, yeah,
I firmly believe if you pay your own bill, you operate in a different manner, when something's free, when you rent an apartment in college and the electricity's thrown in, you always turn the heat up and the air conditioner down, because it's free. That's just the way it is. So if we can put a hard number on, that encourages good, stewardship as far as, and I mean, I just think it makes a better business out of it, a better model. So, well, I've only got X amount of dollars. We need to utilize that. We need to do a good job managing. And some things that maybe are on the fence or, I mean, we hear things about clothes with tag on. Going to the dumpster, and I mean, we should. My opinion.
No, I don't think we're handing clothes, but not gonna throw it away. They would be brought into settlement.
My opinion, but again,
Yeah, they pull it, they bring a lot of clothes with their own.
Yeah.
All the buttons, it's amazing what all they do out there. That's true. But on the other hand is. Talking to them about trash. Not trash. Goods can be received at any time. Maybe it's only during the daytime hours when they're there, so they can monitor what comes into. No, that's when they get these couches dumped off. They get stuff dumped
Yeah.
off, they just have to throw away.
yeah,
And they catch them on camera and they can go find them, they make them pick them back up, but sometimes they're pretty slick about. Stay down and view the camera.
okay.
yeah, so I guess I haven't ever talked to them, so it'd be good for me to go out and see what they're doing. And, I agree that maybe if they just not allow it, take anything except when they're open, but then that limits.
Yeah, a lot of Sunday afternoon deliveries, people. Yeah. Can we talk to them?
They can manage for within a budget too.
They would.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. And have you reached out to them about this? Okay, so they know. So I guess it'd be fair, we could ask questions when they come.
That might be a good.
Okay, all right.
And if you take the responsibility and all that's delivered, I think back to the commissioner, we control and watch how much is going through. Making sure that land go gets their dollars, a certain amount, and then
Sure.
honored or closer to. The commissioner versus. Everything just taken on, like, dumped out there, they get a bill, then they get it dumped out there, they said to take it up there, this, all right, this is what's happening. This, you know.
I think it'd be fine. I think it'd be fine. Fine,
That would, yeah, we're seeing what happens.
sure.
Month. And they can do it every 2 months, or something. They don't have to do it every week.
All right. Okay, so we'll talk to him next week. 28th, next week, and we'll ask some questions and maybe we'll change some things around and make that work better for everybody. Okay, any more on that? No? Here we go. 5-year budget history, item number 6.
So where was that at? I saw it someplace, but is it? We're in a formatting
Yours format's different. I don't know where
before the payroll or after the payroll or,
Got it on number 6. It says 5-year budget history.
oh,
So did you ever find the lines? You can't,
no,
you don't have a
It's
menu.
right after the roof analysis.
I got, okay. Oh, it was on a separate deal.
This is what I'm looking at.
No, that was what we done.
Huh.
Um,
It should be, it's under your packet for today's meeting, correct? And then it should be a sub item under the packet for May 19th. There. Did we ever find a way on his computer? Doesn't,
um,
and did you go this route for a reason?
No. That was chosen for him.
Is there any way to switch him to what we have? So we're all.
We've been talking, I was talking to Donnie about that, getting him to the same, so all three of the same.
It's just buying this.
I don't know if it's worth,
You don't want to do it?
Well, it makes it
I don't-
very easier for us to help anybody up here.
Yeah, because he helps me all the time and I can help you.
They're all
You
the
can help me.
same. It'd be easier if they were all the same. But
You're close. I'm
I
just,
can't do it.
page 50.
Can't work that.
56.
page 56.
Yep, page 56. And it's all right. This is a minor technical thing.
Oh,
You just gotta remember Star Trek and data. There you go. We're on the same page.
I knew I saw it someplace, but so.
Okay.
I guess. My question would be, can you put numbers on there somehow? So. This morning I went through and put some of them on there, but I missed that one. Well, like, this thing shows page 1, page up through page 50 or whatever. Things that are entered,
You mean on the agenda, you'd like to have what page number?
right, well, or someplace. I don't know that you can do that.
I think what he's saying is on our,
Right,
See, Bill, like on ours over here, we can hit this button right here. You know, we'll give a list of them, but we can just.
and it gives you page numbers.
yeah,
Well,
that's,
it kind
Okay.
of represents exactly what you have there in the order. You just pick it and it brings. Like if he wants to go to the budget history, he hits it, that brings it straight up to.
Oh. So if I-
Yours doesn't do that. We tried to find it. We
Hey,
couldn't
Donnie.
find it.
if somebody, if
Well-
we,
Well, so if you showed me that at the meeting, I could just write those numbers down here and then that'd be. Enough, probably.
does anybody need an Android? Nobody does? We don't have a home for it? Okay, all right.
I think we can work. through
You're
this.
comfortable with, and we can do that before the meeting. I can do that. and get
Hate
a
to,
page
but I
number.
couldn't set it. We had set my.
Feel bad.
Set it up. and it's-
Cause I knew it was in there someplace, but I couldn't find it.
All right, we got stalled on technology issues. Okay, 5-year budget history. What is this just information? Okay,
We usually have them, they give this 5 years to us every. Was it 3 years? Usually they have requested 2020, adopted 2020, request, usually only have about 3 years here.
okay. So when we go through the budget process and just say, let's pick on ourselves here, county commissioners. Do we have a way of seeing, so I see the total number, but where do we see the breakouts? Or do we ever see?
We'll get that in our booklet.
Well, that's something we got to talk about. So you want this one, that's not.
What's the book?
asking. I wish everybody did this electronic thing, submitted it to you electronic. I know some departments do not think it right things.
Which is fine. Yeah.
I don't have a problem with electronic as far as looking at the budget like Kevin was. Years ago. If I had a tab for each department. Had a file, had each department, and there's like a whole lot one at a time. That would be more user friendly in the big book. Cause that's a thick 3-ring notebook that you have to look through.
Mailing to paper.
But-
Screen.
I guess I'm more pension, because I kind of like this. I know. I like to see it on the paper, because then I can flip from one. And in my mind, I need to, I can put them side by side. Whereas. I know that's extra work.
Well.
Are you just talking salary side of it? All. So in our contract, relationship with the Lloyd Group, part of what we paid them for, most of it was budget education, but also preparation. So they won't do a paper copy, everything's electronic. So then, do you know, or I'm sure you do know, here's my question, when we get to, and I don't want to pick on anybody, but just anybody in that bottom half there that are I'm just picking on noxious weeds, he won't. So, and they probably don't have this, but do we see like their financials? Do we see, you know, the ins and outs? Do we see, different accounts, like if there's any savings, any CDs or any, I mean, that wouldn't be noxious weed. Okay. So I picked the wrong knock. Let's go to like extension council, because I think they would have the opportunity to say have a CD. You don't see any. I do. Okay, so we fund and, but how do we see, I mean, I want to see the total picture. Do we have the ability to see that? Do we have to specially request it? And can they just say no? And I don't want to be the bad guy here, but I still go back to like a township and cemetery. Significant savings and still holding tax. So I want to address that if we can, even though it's going to be unpleasant. Again, not picking on one, I'm just trying to find someone there, but I can't do it without making somebody the target.
So another question I have is, we know the expenses of people, but. I think some departments have some income somewhere too. Because evidently, because the numbers don't add up, but. I mean, like the solid waste, if they do some spraying, they evidently get some for that.
Mhm.
How do we? Is there any way we can?
Do we see that? Where he contracts with the state to do the roads? Noxious weed. Yeah.
Yeah, as an example.
They'll be able to reimburse.
Uh-huh.
But we, it's just as one item, we don't know what it's what is reimbursed.
But it goes straight. Back.
So if they had contract work and say they had $10,000 in contract income, is it normal that in their budgeting process, they would project that next year we'll have $10,000 in contract income and it's thrown in there? And we would see that. All right.
I think that's an important part when you do a budget then.
Yes. Good. Well, we're just asking questions, and I'm sorry they all get pointed towards you. But there's, I mean, what we see here is just, all I'm seeing is the big number. And I'd like to see how do we arrive at that? And hopefully we would.
That's like the work. That's what we see every day.
But that did take it to a subtle, and it's not very detailed, and I mean, I guess, are we privy to that? I mean, I'd like to know, how do you get at those smaller numbers, because you're still.
Some people provide it, some people don't.
Oh, yeah. And that's not the level I'm going. What I'd like to see is when I do my inventory accounting on farm, I've got my schedule F and I've got all these items, you know, fertilizer, seed, chemical, all this stuff, fuel, and everything's total. And then I can, from 2025 and 2024 to 25, see all that stuff. Now, I don't see where I'm on fuel, from, which individual, but it's
Commissioner.
oh. Okay, yeah, like that. So can you spot trends with that information? So you're already doing. All right. I firmly believe, and I think we found this to be true already, that the general public is pretty forgiving of things they understand. And if we can shine the light of day on why does this particular office asking for more money? Well, the reason is because we're doing more things. And it just took more money to do more things. And instead of, well, we just want more money because we're not getting paid. That makes sense? So, I mean, we're gonna have to answer for whatever we do. I assume the storm is coming, so we just as well get prepared. That's my, yeah, okay. So you asked a question Nikki, about if we had started anything on our school. So. Which one have you got?
This is the commission.
Of 2024 or 2025? 2025.
We got. That's the 26 commissioner budget.
This?
Don't cry.
Oh, okay. Okay, I didn't go up to the top. I'm sorry. All I saw was that Schedule A. All right.
Oh, okay. Sure.
Well, to answer your question for me, I would take any help you would offer. But I'm gonna face it. So, but I also don't want to waste your time if you don't feel like it's worth doing. Yeah, I hate. Between us and you,
It's just a starting point for it. And that's all it should be.
would you,
Not representing on what you've done or, because it's always gonna have to change on things and look at it. We ask why.
would you like to do it a different way?
I didn't know if you guys wanted to. So.
Okay,
We usually, we usually get all this information. Add after, we usually don't have it before, but at least if we have it before. If you present something to us, we look to compare where you got your numbers and it helps us. If you can, I'd like to see it.
it's fine to me, and we could give you the
And
page. on
Donnie, if you wanted to, I mean, you could always pop them up too.
Well, it was like,
It won't interfere with them seeing us, but he can pop them wherever. Oh, no, okay. Yeah, you had it there where you could click on that so much faster than the big books. The big books would be, you're always clicking through them trying to find it. It does for me. I don't know about the rest of you, I mean,
well,
because if we get them ahead of time,
well, if it was like this, where I didn't know there was going to delay me, see, I found out that. Makes it.
that makes it pretty easy.
Right.
Yeah.
So,
If they're like this, like you've done Kevin, that would be great.
so you can get by with the computer without the book?
I think so. Or, I don't need you to fill out the book anyway, I might need blank sheets. No, all right, or, well, let's see how we get along, and,
You want to try to do it digital?
all right, we'll try it.
That'll save us.
Whatever, if that's easier for you.
Okay, so then just trying to read people here, the budget's the big deal for the county. This is where and we're gonna find out how the sausage is made in this one. So evidently there's quite a bit of back and forth. Now, questions are okay. Yeah, we can ask questions. And I guess question from me isn't necessarily an argument, it's just a question. So sometimes we get defensive, like we have to stand our ground and this is why we're doing it. And I guess that's not, I'm just trying to figure out and learn, how why people think. I guess if we should be able to keep the temperature pretty low in the room, I think.
Usually,
I hope.
they present it to us and we tell if we have any questions we can ask.
Okay.
Usually it's not a very long time with any of them right there unless there's something major that's on there that. When they explain why they've done this. Okay, look at that. But I guess there's two things I'd like to make sure that we. Figure out before we. We always have the cost of living and any raises. I feel that department heads should have an idea of what they're thinking about for their departments. Present it to us that day, But cost of living is gonna strictly just come from. The commissioners, I don't think they should figure that in at all, because we have to decide if we're gonna give that amount across the board for the whole county. The cost of living.
And that's a percentage?
They usually been just 50 cents. It's never been a percent.
So this throws a wrench into it, but if it's 50 cents on somebody making $18 or 50 cents on somebody making $26, it's a higher percentage, the lower your wage, right? Is that the way you want that to work?
That's been. That's been an argument for. Quite a while now, for if it's,
So a new employee essentially gets a bigger raise than someone who's been here.
if you give a 3% raise, cost of living raise. It's different for each person than what they make.
Does that make it a nightmare for accounting? And if the commission or whoever decides to have a raise. Say some department presents, we want this. Like payroll taxes, the K camp, or excuse me, K works, the workers' comp stuff, is that all factored in? Or do we get, is that the adjustment we did, towards the beginning of this year, where, oh, well, your salary's went up, so now your K works portion's higher? I mean, but you estimate that that's gonna go up to. Do we know, will we know health insurance and benefit costs when we do all this?
Oh, it's that magic number that we pull out that they have, that he has to give us. What it thinks is gonna be, where it thinks it's. What? I want to say Lloyd. Greg Watt. What? They do our insurance and they'll be talking and they'll look at the trends of the first 3 quarters, if we won't have that last one until.
So does the county operate on any just assumptions from year to year? Is it just assume that X will be plus 5%? And that's just the way you do it?
Not that's in here.
Okay, so
I don't know, I never thought cost of living was good, because that, to me, that just makes the cost of living go up, and everybody gets the cost of living, it's just an automatic inflation. But I'm not opposed to increasing somebody's pay if they're, have done different, I mean, if they earn it.
so does each department decide based on merit whether to recommend a raise or a salary, no increase or even a decrease based on, an employee's performance? And is that presented to us individually, or do they just say, well, everybody needs to go up? So what my question was to your point, do we do merit-based salary adjustments? Are there employee evaluation where each department head says, well, I've got 4 people working for me and, great room for improvement? And do we see any of that here? No.
I'll ask you, I thought that if Nikki's in charge, she knows what they're doing, she should be able to tell us, okay.
Sure.
I always thought that she should know what employees need their raises, but my opinion is you can put in a dollar amount for your raises. Okay? So I'm saying everybody's gonna get a raise, she gives the ones that earn the raise.
Can you do it that way?
I mean, I think that's the way it should be. She puts in an amount for $2,000 for raises. Well, some people, if you just automatically say everybody's gonna get 50 cents raise, cost of living, is that fair? Somebody is doing this amount of work and somebody down here just doing what they have to.
Okay.
And there's also, I remember this one company I worked for, they said, we're gonna give this many more dollars or have this much to give raises. Well, it didn't take too much to figure out there was 100 employees, so employees should get this much raise. Well, some skill levels need more raise than other skill levels. And as a lower skill level, that didn't go too good, but I should understand that should.
I mean, if Nikki saves her dollar amounts, she has $1,000 and that year she used 750 of it. That would stay with her in her account for raises to go into the next year, and then she adds what she needs to what she thinks. Personally, those people that don't hold their wage should not be.
So you're talking about, she does just her office or all officers?
Well, she would take care of herself. She's an elected official. That's her
Right.
department.
Okay, and then the other people take care of their,
They take care of their department.
okay.
They got their pay scale, when you raise somebody up, change that pay scale, but. There's. I see some counties that have a bottom pay and a top pay, and everybody falls in between. This is the highest wage we have for the county. This is the lowest wage.
For all departments or for each department?
So. Butler, how Butler, he did all the budgets. We're talking about budgets up there. Right? Oh, I got an email from him, he sent me his structure on this. When,
Okay, it's gonna be.
you know, when it's 6 months ago, when you were at a meeting or.
No, I did good. Okay. I don't know how we got off on that. I guess
This is a
appreciate you
subject
guys.
this is a subject every year. But every
Well, nobody's smiling anymore in this room either. It doesn't have to be bad. We just gotta figure it. I mean, we just gotta figure it out. We will do our best to be nice people. And try to work through this, because it's gonna be an issue. Every dollar that the county pulls in, I mean, with a few exceptions, we've got to pull out of somebody else's pocket. So if we can manage this where everybody can find a happy medium, I think we'll be all right. I mean, I think we will be. And I could be beaten to a bloody pulp too for being so naive. I don't know, but we'll figure it out. One way or the other. But I'm glad to hear that the department heads do employee evaluation, because I think that's pretty important. Not only for the department head, but for each employee to understand that, hey, I'm either doing an excellent job, or I need to improve. And if people aren't aware of their shortcomings, they never will improve. And we get into a deal where we're afraid to talk to people about areas of underperformance, and we end up not helping anybody, because we have to suffer through it, and then they don't get a chance to grow. So do we do employee evaluations for the people that work directly for us? We probably should. I mean, I don't want to muddy the waters anymore, but I think we should and have I mean, every board I've been on that we have, CEOs and all that stuff down the line, you do these evaluations. And again, it's just, and then you put it in a file, and it's just, every year you go through it, and hey, last year, this is what we really liked about what you're doing, and we really thought you needed to change this, and then when you do it the next year, then, well, how did you improve? And
Go back, but it's been probably 3 or 4 years, but we did do it. We have done.
no, we should try it again, I think, just to. I mean, I think it'd be good use of our time. Good use of our time. So, that's that. So as far as the commissioner's budget, do you want to set up a time like in the work session to try and go through it and start? And we get, or what's the most painless way to do this? What's the preferred way? Okay. All right. Is the 28th the only day we have to do this, or can it spill over? Okay. All right.
I assume whatever they put on that day, that's what I think. Think about around.
All right. All right. Any more questions on that, I guess? Did we?
Oh,
In the.
So I asked Kevin, and he agreed to meet with me Wednesday at noon, because I want to ask some questions about that contract.
can we talk about that in work session today? The contract? I'd like to talk about it in the work session.
Sure, sure.
So. We're meeting on the 28th because that's when Mr. Lloyd can come? Okay. Kind of forgot that. Okay. I explained it. So we aren't meeting on the 27th. based on that.
That's a lot. It's a lot. And then we have our jail basement meeting on the
30th, right?
Yep.
So we had 2 meetings that week.
meetings, and one of them's gonna be pretty long.
Yeah.
All right, okay, so we can talk about the ambulance. Is there anything you want to talk about that in regular meeting? This subsidy ambulance contract, I guess? He's here. Cause he's coming. And it's a pretty lengthy document. In good shape? Anything else coming from the over here?
No, I think.
Okay, is there any other business? Yes. Did we get any information?
I thought Tammy was gonna bring, but she had a.
See her
another
today?
bid. Yeah.
Haven't seen anything. Okay, well, that doesn't surprise me. It takes. Okay,
See if she's in there, so she had one. I thought she said she had.
I don't think that's I don't know, I'd like to see a few other. Not sure that that's a good use for money right away. And on the. Yeah, probably. And then on the motor overhaul, I thought we were agreed to do that, but we was waiting on some other. Quote or something.
okay.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, because I thought Tammy was probably working on that. Why is
What is that truck? So, I mean, if that truck's out of service, is it? How are they working through that? I got something, I mean, what's its specific task? Is it
hauling rock?
hauling rock?
On
I stopped and asked for a bid at the end of the meeting or on Monday, and he just said, evidently gonna be back. I'll stop again
the, maybe something.
to walk.
Oh,
So,
okay. But,
so that was the 2004 Pete, and it's a 379. And it's got the C15 cat. And if you're a trucker, that's a single turbo. Pre-emission. It's got everything that's people want. It's very desirable, so it's worth fixing.
right.
Yeah. Now, I haven't seen the truck, the appearance, but Walker knows that he said it came from, I forget the name, but he says it's a nice.
Right, well, Doug's drives a lot and he thought it was.
Yeah. So it's, and the dollar figure to overhaul a motor was, it's tens of thousands of dollars.
Right,
But the bones of that truck is worth putting that kind of money. Yeah, it's not my fault. There you go. There you go. So, okay. All right, so that's moving along. Now you're working on off this list?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So that we can check mark the okay.
budget for the county, we want to make that electronic. Electronic.
All right, so that'll be taken care of.
What's the R and B tour?
Rhythm and blues.
What?
Nothing. Road and bridge, road and bridge. Oh, this was my idea. I mean, this was spurred because of the dump truck, or excuse me, the motor overhaul. And I look at that and I think, how am I supposed to make an informed decision as a commissioner from District 2 about a truck in District 3 when I've never even seen it? And would it be okay to arrange a tour? And I guess if the commissioners went and Nikki went with us, because that makes it COMA approved, and we could have Tammy come with us and just take a walkthrough of each district's shop, see their equipment, you know, what's there. I know they're gonna be on the road chip sealing, but see what's there and put our eyes on it. So, that would help my company. I think I'd make a better decision. I know, obviously, I know what I'm talking about. But we might have a truck that needs to put all of it. You know, maybe it's only worth $10,000 if it's fixed, and then some good money. Would you guys want to do that? I've got an expedition we can all ride to it. If you want.
I mean, I make, I go by all three of them. Stop in one spot.
So you're comfortable, you.
And I've seen, I've seen Fairview more than I am important, but I drive by, if they're there, I'll talk to them, I look and see what they have. You know, because it's building locked up, you know, you can't get inside, but most of the stuff under, you know, all of our stuff is, if they're using it, it'd be, the door will be open, otherwise they're. Most of it will be closed doors. But yeah, you can stop in and,
You mentioned earlier about doing the tooth. We do a tooth, yeah, or something like that.
I what?
Take inventory of the
tubes.
tubes.
Okay.
We could,
Well, it's trying to time have that inventory of food, don't you?
I don't know.
I just know my guys have turned it, some of the other ones have not.
Okay. Yeah,
So my goal, other than seeing everything that they have, is to, you know, just present ourselves as a team here. Because we're in charge of that.
Right.
And that's the biggest part of our budget. And it's a little bit hard to manage in this current setup. But if you feel comfortable, I mean, I'm not forcing you to go at all.
I have no problem going.
I just like to go and take a look at stuff. Does that work with your schedule? Could you fit it in? Okay. When would you want to do it? I'm very flexible.
pretty much anytime.
Probably you might have a more schedule.
Well, what we're talking about tours, I'd like for you to go see the bridges they're building. The difference between well, we're building one in Fairview, and that's one built one way, and then they're building one down on the reservation. That's not ours, but it's I think it's a B&G bridge. It's one of those hunchback ones. You'll see how much more work it takes to build one of those than it does like the one in Fairview, or even I'm thinking for the Husker Steel one, they just instead of after they get their I-beams down, I think they just lay corrugated metal across there and pour it on there. On that over there, they went through and they had to put plywood between each beam and secure that, so they had to build a frame underneath that to support all that. And to me, that was a lot of work. I mean, they spent all week. I thought they were about ready to pour it last week, and here I looked at it yesterday, and they've made a lot of progress, but it's still looks like it's very poor now, maybe. But to me, there's a difference in the way they design the bridges. Make it so maybe the same value, but how much time is spent in the construction and how much time is the road closed because we're picking a bridge that takes twice as long to build.
I mean, I don't have a problem.
I mean,
construction.
maybe I looked at them both this weekend and there's a big difference.
Okay.
But when I asked for two kinds of bridges, quotes on two different kinds of bridges, I only get one. Higher cost.
All right. And Nikki, you said that Fridays don't work? Okay. So what day would work? Any other day. So the worst part about somebody needs to throw a date out first. I always hesitate. I'm busy on Friday too, actually. What do you think? What's your schedule? Okay.
That's easier for me to do.
Sure. That sounds fine. Is everybody okay? I mean, you want to ride together? Do you want to ride separately? What do you think? Oh, really? Okay, okay. Well, I can take the car down dirt roads.
So does, you have to, the ones flying there when they do that?
I mean, they might be on the jobs.
I mean, I know that.
I don't necessarily need them there. I'm not looking to go in the shop, but I would, I mean, if the equipment's fine, lot, if we would be buildings. Okay. You know, tools or anything. She. All the buildings. I thought she was, yeah, okay. Okay.
Just thinking, I know the weird, all the guys are in there. At 7. One of them there, we went after 8, but they're around for an hour and a half to 2 hours.
Right. I don't know that they need to be there.
That's, yeah,
Yeah, but then again, it's good for them to find each other, pieces of equipment to you, have any questions.
Right.
If there ain't no questions that.
it's true. I don't want to hold them up again. To put it in the 30 chips out.
But bringing up chips and all, I know that with weather that we were gonna have over the next few days. Hot patching done. We can tell, I don't know where everybody's at, I know we can put some down. We're getting close, but we're gonna be ready when it's time to go.
Well, got a road that we need to dig up yet before we,
Can't get too late in the game where we use our summer help and everything else. I mean, we
Right.
got our window of opportunity for
I mean,
oiling it usually start June.
They try to start in. They like to start June 2nd, it's when they want to start. But
Well,
I think we
that
got-
is- that's
depends
right
on if
around.
everybody's ready.
I think we got quite a bit of hot patching done last week.
Yeah, they're running around my district.
They got some done last week, but this week they think it's gonna be too cool.
I think 2 goals.
That's when we need to be digging up our road and packing that down.
Oh, we got roadsides to mow, we got the one that's happening, we're starting in your district this year. That's correct.
Right, 2, 3, 1.
Then another thing I wanted to bring up was,
We schedule our time. We schedule that to a time before we move on.
Yeah.
All right. Were you here? I'm sorry, I didn't see you come in. Were you here for the idea of getting
I
together?
listened to it.
Okay, so when would that work in your schedule? Take a trip,
Whenever.
whenever. Whoever throws out like the date, I guess wins. So Wednesday doesn't work for you, Friday doesn't work for you. What about Thursday? Does Thursday work? Thursday in the morning, if we met here at 8 o'clock, like normal time, we could schedule, can we do it in? Can we do it in take 2 hours maybe? I mean, if we go to Hiawatha first, Horton, swing by your bridges and come back to Fairview and then back here, 2 hours is pretty tight. You might want to figure 3. That works? Okay,
I don't know if you want to go look at those bridges while they're working on them or not, though, but
that's up to you. If you want us to see them,
I've usually been going on like on the weekend and on that way
okay,
around.
well, we can do a drive by. If we don't want to, we don't have to. You know, you change your mind.
Yeah.
This Thursday at 8 o'clock for everybody. Does that work for you?
Yep.
Okay, okay, and I'll drive, so we can all pile in there, we should be good. I'll throw some bottles of water in. We can. Okay. And as far as coma, I mean, that's totally legit, right? And we can talk about anything we want to talk about. I mean, that's related to road and bridge. Okay. And you're like the coma police in that. Okay, all right. Well, I just want to clear expectations, so we know, and someone, if we. I mean, if we're doing this in good faith, it should be fine, but if we happen to mention something we shouldn't, somebody will tell us. No, okay, all right, cool.
Are you going to want to look inside? I mean, which is fine, I just, if they're, because they keep them locked.
Oh, they lock them up.
If they're
Okay.
outside.
Ah. Do you track year to year mileage on things?
No,
We don't.
no.
It'd be neat. I would like to see odometers on some of these dump trucks, so, but if that's possible, it'd be good to see.
Let's see if they can unlock the vehicles.
Okay,
You got your list of roads yet, or everybody?
I have one.
so the camera doesn't see her body language. That's why I'm smiling.
That's why I'm hiding.
Okay, so there's lists that you need to get. Can we help you get those?
Normally they get this.
So did you say that because you knew the answer?
I did not know the answer. If they had been.
Do we need to do something to help you out then?
Let me double check, but I believe all I received this.
Okay, okay. Okay,
But that way she can, whenever it comes time to start oiling in the district, she has the roads to be able to send out text cast that's oiling on this road these days. She needs a list of all the roads where they're gonna be.
Kind of, because they don't tell me the order. Actually, I just had Dallas put it on the website. And say oiling will be from this state to this state and list the roads by district. And how we put what, District 2 would be first, then District 3, then District 1.
okay,
And say that, there's approximately 2 weeks in each district.
okay. Can you, when we take our trip, can you bring the inventory of equipment with us so we can have an idea? Okay. I think it'll be informational, educational, and it could be a lot of fun, right? Check it out. Okay,
You can let the foreman know that we're gonna be doing this.
please do, please do. Yeah, it's not a surprise inspection or anything. It's just, let's, yeah.
If they can be there, that would be great.
But if not,
But I don't know what. Start at first.
should we have a plan? Where do you want to start? Because we could sort of give them a rough timeline. I think. You want to start here in Hot Walker? Because we're right here.
Do that and maybe. Your district and then go to Fairview, that's where the bridges are on the way.
All right.
One of the swing line, both of them, we could
So if we
drive by
told,
on the way to there.
if we told John we'd be there about 10 after 8, is that fair? We met here at 8, load up and drive. And then Jerry, we could be there at 9 o'clock. Roughly. And then Doug will be there. Yeah, somewhere. Yeah, that's a good idea. That lets you know, that's our plan, so. And Tammy, while you're here, just this is a different subject, but have you heard anything on the road? The armadillo, what's happening with those?
I'm actually gonna drive out there and download the report.
Okay.
Because I also need to have to. There,
Okay, so will this be the first report then, or?
the first full. report,
Okay,
So it'll be a week,
okay,
so, and I'm anxious to see that.
and where, refresh my memory, where did you put them?
2-7,
All right,
I don't know if you know where Bill Ray lives,
um,
but it's right by just before his house.
okay,
And then Auberly C.
Okay,
It's right beside their building.
okay, all right, nice, well,
So it's at each end of where we're going to be
perfect,
doing the construction.
perfect, all right. And that construction is still, it was delayed a few weeks, but late June, early July. And did they have a timeline they thought it would take to complete?
I believe they said 4 to 6 weeks.
Month and a half, all right. Okay, wonderful. Wonderful,
It looked like
And
it-
of course, some of that is one wire.
sure. Sure. Okay, well, I think that's taken care of then. Look forward to doing that on Thursday morning. We'll meet here. I'll drive. I'll bring some water. I'll tell my wife. Yes,
Are you ready to go on?
go for it.
Don't leave, Tammy. So, Husker Steel or whoever, Norfolk is could work on bridges pretty soon. What Doug told me anyway. And, so do we want to fix that one tube on Newbury, I think, or that angle tube that comes down? And then I'm not sure we can afford to fix the one on Foxdale, because that was like $185,000 project.
But Dr. Before she asked,
So. But I think we could afford the 90,000, maybe to put that tube in, so we don't have to keep dumping rock down that hole. It's like let's see, there's a plan for it. Take out the 6'6" concrete blocks and install a new 48-foot tube in there. But that's on a blacktop road. The other one's just on a gravel road, so I think there's probably more traffic on this road than this other one, so I guess I think I'd like to want to get that one done. And
Go through the bid process. Go over the amount, you're gonna have to do informal.
Well, so-
advertise the paper,
so it needed,
still bids, have to give you're gonna have to get a,
all right, so
spec sheet of what you want done. And
But-
get it.
are you agreeable to pursue that at this time?
So that, you know, what your funds look like in your department.
Well,
That's where it gets back to,
right,
you know,
so that's why,
looking instead of the county whole, I mean, you're gonna be looking at what you have in your area.
that's why I'm so concerned about some of these bridges we're designing that are high priced and go way over budget. But, yeah, so the roads like, $518,000 or something that's gonna be out of that, so that leaves us like 600,000. But out of that's out of the capital outlay. You know, we usually have some left over anyway, so this couldn't just fit into the regular cost.
Well, you won't have your leftover that you've had past here.
The HUD?
Road and Bridge Department.
What?
Because we did in the road and bridge department, you won't have as much money left over at the end of the year that we usually have.
Not as much, but HUD,
89,000.
yeah,
so
Got these on a spreadsheet somewhere where we buy,
yes, I do.
so it shows what projects District 1, 2, or 3 has.
So right now, this road's still passable, they're plugging it with gravel?
well, it's washing out, it's broke up and then the part of it's broke up. The way it's not a good.
Do you want to? Do we take a little recess?
So anyway,
10:30.
I think that's.
Do you think you have the money?
I think so. Could be wrong, but,
Oh, we need a bid.
Yeah.
That's just an idea. Where did that estimate come from?
Chris Edelman. He's, I think he works for Norfolk Construction. You are,
So, in a tube like that, how do you even come about, how do you make the spec sheet? Did he go to the site and draw a plan?
yeah, they went out and measured it, and that's what they designed.
So do we use that information when we put the bids out?
I would say so.
Okay.
This is separated by project.
Are those all,
That, yeah.
these are all different? Okay,
Yes.
thanks, Neil. I'll take your copy.
Do you want a copy? Do you need more paper?
I don't.
Okay, so OS2. Brady's just waiting on us to give him permission to advertise it for bid letting. We've paid everything except 4,000 in preliminary engineering. He said it will probably be, even though we let it now, the construction probably wouldn't be until either later this year or next year. So that's why I put it in 2026. And that is just an estimate, but it is all county funded. And since we had to go around the old bridge, we may have to purchase a little bit more right away. But I'm not positive about that yet.
This is the historically significant
Yes.
bridge.
Yeah, it will be more right away. Okay. Well, per se, yeah.
Yes, we have.
We did purchase them right.
That's why it's on there.
So, okay, so just to the top, have an off system bridge. What-
That's the bridge program that we got funding, the
off-system bridge?
500. We got, or
Does that mean the same, this OS, does that mean the same thing up here? Off system?
it's an off-system bridge,
Off-system,
yes.
sure. Sorry.
That's okay.
And so this bridge is the one that's up in the northwest corner of the county. And it's the one with the historically significant bridge that we can't tear down. We have to leave. and
Correct.
build a new.
And go around it, yeah.
At 310.
It's on Antelope.
South of 315 or north of 315 or
I
something.
was gonna say, yeah,
So
I
this-
was gonna say between 310 and 320.
So this is the bridge that originally we got an estimate from this company that was like $235,000.
Okay, so we fund the entire thing.
This,
So I estimated that 360 high because
that was a different design too,
right,
so,
for the 230, yeah.
yeah.
So the engineer has a bridge, all the plans are laid out. They're just sitting on his desk waiting for us to give him permission.
To do the bid letting, yes.
And so you're talking, this is the one where they're going with the more expensive bridge, then there's options, but we've chosen one option over the other.
This is one of those.
This is one.
This is the one that we could have hired an engineer for $15,000, but we hired the one for $30,000.
All right.
But the other engineer doesn't do everything that Brady does.
But we could have got away with it. All right, go on. So if that's not gonna happen until the next year,
Probably, yes,
So currently this road is closed.
correct,
This road's-
yes.
Is it a high traffic road? Gravel road?
Probably.
Gravel, like dirt. Are there people that live on it?
Lakes the closest thing to it, they got access up to the highway, and people have to go around, no row house, real close.
not north
Not
of
to
it.
the north, there's to the north, there's to the east.
So is the bridge built for farming? For access to the fields?
But
Is it built for farm access more than? I just don't know.
oh yeah, I mean, every bridge. Every bridge is important.
Yeah, I'm just trying to figure it out. If someone going 3 miles out of their way now to get home because this bridge is out.
Probably not to get home, but to get to the next field, probably.
Probably right. This fall would be the tough spot right now. Probably still some driving around the barricade getting.
Well, we're talking about
Probably.
putting dumping dirt there. It was getting a lot worse, so they considered putting dirt.
This is the bridge where the creek is it eating down? Is that what's happening?
Well,
Yes.
a wind wall fell off,
Lost in concrete. On the way home.
right, and then it was only a 16-foot bridge with high walls on it.
Okay.
So I figured for the same price it cost to repair it, you could build a new one.
Wider than normal. All right, that makes sense.
But-
Okay.
But we've been trying to get it done for.
And so
Three
this,
If it became an historical bridge, would have been done probably by now.
Yeah,
and this bridge doesn't qualify for any help because
we put in for it, I believe, and we didn't get selected on it. I think it was one of the ones we put in.
It was.
and once you try and don't get accepted, you just gotta.
No, I mean, you can keep trying. I just haven't done any more
Okay.
But then time
this year.
you get a grant on it or something, then you gotta have somebody sitting there watching it
Okay.
all the time.
All right. Well, you know what you're doing. I'm just.
That can eat up your $100,000 pretty fast.
All right. There's page 1.
They
You
do.
ready to go to page 2?
Sure.
All right, let's go to page 2.
And that's OS 265. Is that what you guys have?
Yep.
And actually, it looks like we've paid most of what we should be paying already. Because we paid the 115, which is what KDOT estimated that our portion was gonna be.
You have a physical address for this bridge.
220.
Ish.
220th, just west of 75 highway.
That's the one we're working on it.
Okay.
So I believe we're actually done with it.
Right.
270th. The construction estimate is an estimate because I took what you guys approved on it and added that up. And then added the construction engineering and deducted what we were awarded in the cost share program. Now, I believe that with the cost share program, we have to pay and then they reimburse us. Correct. And so that's gonna,
So that's a problem. I mean, it could be a problem.
So the county is responsible for 25% of this 500.
no, that is the 25%.
Okay.
No,
The base bid was 1.859.
But they, okay, so the base bid was,
1,859,845, don't quote me on that. I have the bid or the sheet, and yeah, you have it, because you guys approved. The only thing you're not doing is this. So I added up this number, this number, this number, and this number.
you come up with 518. No, you come up with,
That's what you had if you added all of these together.
right, but they had a limit of 900,000.
957,000.
Originally, we estimated it was gonna cost 1.2 million or something. Or a little more,
That was,
and that's what they based their amount on. 75% of that amount.
It's being accepted.
Yeah.
In 24. To be constructed.
this is a road.
Well, this-
Yeah.
Road. Where's the road?
Yeah, so
We're on the 270 street up there.
Right.
I'm sorry. I was.
That's
in
okay.
well, heck, I
No
was-
worries.
So this is, I know all about this now. I'm sorry, I got confused. Just when you make a mistake, just admit it and go on. So I was totally on the wrong page. So there you're at the,
this is the road.
now I'm with you.
Okay.
100%. You're right.
So
Okay.
that's why it's there.
Did that number get out of hand versus what you thought?
Little bit, yeah,
Thought it fell right in.
but originally we were only,
And this was also started in 2024,
right,
so.
Okay, so then, so the county share is 562,000 and we pay for the project. So we're paying for the 1.859 million. And then we're reimbursed, and that was Bill's point of that.
Right.
Okay, so how do we navigate that? I mean, they do the project and we write them a check for 1.859 million and then it sits there for 30 days and they give us 1.3 back?
Let me clarify that with Brady.
Yeah, I don't think, on this project, I don't think that's.
I don't believe so.
that's not what,
I don't.
That's not the
think we have to pay for
case.
The whole project. We have to pay for our share, not the whole project.
And
All right,
maybe what they do is wait until the project's done and then KDOT would send me what we owe. So let me get with Brady before I get you
okay,
up in arms
All
about
right.
it,
that was wonderful.
because that I'm not positive with that. What?
Air conditioning. Oh,
Oh,
supposed to encourage us to work fast.
I thought it was.
Bad, I mean, 9/11.
And then FAS 51. We've only paid part of the preliminary engineering. The geotech, that's just what Brady estimated on it. I'm not even sure if that's something that absolutely has to be done. The right-of-way purchase is also an estimate on Brady's side. By the contract that was signed with Brady, we still have 39,875 left to pay from what we've already paid, because the contract was 74,000, I believe.
This is on 170. Where's that bill?
that's on 170th, it's just east of Falcon.
Okay, what is FAS?
Federal aid system.
What's this?
Bridge Improvement Program is BIP.
Okay, what?
Kansas locally,
There you
yes.
go.
Thank you.
Those acronyms.
KDOT loves acronyms,
Sure.
always.
And if they can get them to actually spell a word, that's even better, right?
Yes.
A fast program.
And even when you're talking to them, they say the acronym, even if it's not a word. So then I have to stop and go sound it out in my head to figure out what they're talking about.
Okay, well, east of Falcon, all right.
So we pay 10% and that program is up to the 1,150,000. So I just estimated ours at 100,000 for the construction and the construction engineering, because that's all part of reimbursable.
Okay.
Both of those are, the other three are not reimbursable under that program.
And so this is what we have in the hopper
Yes, currently.
currently.
But like I put on the FAS 51, he said construction could be pushed out to 2027.
So the preliminary engineering, they're expecting to cost $70-some thousand.
Yes,
And so to me, we should not pay more than $200,000 for that bridge. I'd still say you could build a bridge for $600,000 that bridge. Go up space. The 56-foot bridge now, you got it designed for a 100-foot bridge. Bridge water has never gone over that road.
This is the one that you feel pretty strong.
You're right. And it's on a main road, so I don't think it needs to be shut down for 4 or 5 months. Building the bridge that could be built in 3 months.
So with something like this, is it open for debate? Or is this like set in stone? This is the way they want to go? I mean, because if it's open for debate, we ought to do it. If we can't do anything about it, I'll just move on. Does anyone know
Well,
what
when
you're
it's
getting
getting
at?
funded from the state, they got the requirements.
So,
Is that where it came from?
so-
State requirement?
I'm not sure they required a punch block bridge. I don't- Anyway. So that's my concern, but if it's pushed off, I mean, I don't believe this bridge is gonna happen in 2025.
no, it's not.
Could be 2027.
Could be 2027, so I think it'll probably be all right. So. Awesome.
So
So,
we need to remember that this is coming.
Right.
because, Yeah,
basically we got the road,
And OS 2.
when we do our budgets. when we-
Because OS 265 is done, paid for.
Right.
Road, bridge, hey, this.
so that's partner.
These are things that I ask and how we do that.
You do the budget.
I think so, yeah.
You put it in parentheses and hey, this is. Okay, all right, just be simple.
So we're pushing $1 million for those 2 projects. We got $1,100,000 in the capital outlay, so I think we should have 89,000 to fix out. Over
Look at this too. But the 2 project needs to be
bid.
big.
We have a sheet kind of similar to those 2 projects over there, you know. Address and where it is and, you know. We're gonna draw up specs, somebody's gonna draw up a spec for you. So you can put out a bid sheet on it, so you can advertise it in the paper. So you're gonna have to draw up specs off of that. But we can come in and grab the bids to, we can send out. That's just what I had to do on the one. That I've had replacement or repair on.
So does each company come out and have their own idea to fix it? Or do you rely on a certain person to give you the plans and then distribute that to the companies and they get that?
truthfully, on tubes, what I usually do is take the specs off of what they've written. So that so that if we get anybody that calls in for a spec sheet, which we generally,
Really? How do they do the project then?
I put it in the newspaper.
With all the detail? And do they come out? and
No, I
submit?
put in to call for specs.
Okay.
Which is what I did with, the truck. Over. Your district.
Yep, that's on the list. It's. not for me.
So I just usually take these. As the specs, so
Okay.
that the bids are comparable.
Okay.
See, they're gonna remove the concrete box, which is. That's a lot of work off of us.
One of those things like the concrete box that they're gonna be removing and stuff, if they're in kind of service, I mean, those are things that we have the equipment to do. Just to remove some of this stuff, you know.
Sure. We've got the excavator, we've got the truck.
So I mean, if there's something that would actually going on, form out and we remove it, they come in and replace it.
We kind of need to look at the time frame on it, because if they're thinking of. Now. The guys can't do it now. Cause they're trying to start oiling.
If they remove it and put it back in all at once, then it's the road's not closed. If we take it out, is it when they get back there? Then the road's gonna be closed.
Remember 2 weeks on our project that north there down when we took out
On Kestrel. Or Linden.
then the road. Where we found the extra concrete. Others, that we had to dig up. And we were finally. A whole lot more concrete to dig up.
Yeah, they ended up with quite a hole there.
Major hole. Something that we didn't know existed. Until we started two of those.
That was there, and then underneath it was even more of a.
So the county was installing this too, or it was.
District one. Okay.
I believe it's finally done.
Yeah, it's done. It was-
All right. Well, thanks for the explanations here.
So I'm just running it by you guys. You think that's, you will go ahead and bid on that 89,000 or that. But we have that kind of money.
So it cuts it pretty close, but if it's in there, it needs to be done.
And the other thing with Norfolk is they don't, even though it says on there that a statutory bond or a something, I guess this one doesn't say that, but on another one, they had put that the bond would be furnished, and they did not. So we're probably gonna have to add a little bit for the surety statutory performance bond.
They over 100,000 have to have it.
Oh, it is 100. Yeah, it is. I was thinking 10. I lost a 0.
Well, and on the bid.
So then,
So hopefully that would be under that.
yeah, if it stays under that, then they don't have to have one.
And could we change the bid to have the county crews take out the old one?
Through the timeline.
Yeah,
I was
right.
gonna say we'd have to see what the
Based on,
timeline
yeah,
was.
if-
If it was going to be after, I wanna say July. They might have time to do it.
But it's kind of my understanding they were working in Dalton County and they would like to come.
We'd like to tie it
A
in.
lot of times on things like this, if we can, all right, say that they have equipment there and they want to dig it out. If we can provide the trucks to haul it away, there are certain things that we can do, that the company will call in kind of service.
Sure.
And they'll reduce their bill if we provide some in kind service, so they don't have to use their manpower or.
I think we should add
I don't know. It would have to be like on a project like this, we say, won't give us the bid with us removing this or helping X, Y, Z, and the bid is you doing it all.
Can we have them, break it out like they did the road? Where we asked, what they call add-ons?
Like the last bridge I did down on the avenue,
Add alternates?
when they were completed, but they,
See,
we did all the backfill.
right, and that's what expected here.
I was gonna say, I think that's
Yeah.
what, cause usually with Norfolk,
We
we
gotta
do.
Take
or
care of
Husker,
the
whichever.
utilities. Arrange the maintenance barricades, remove salvage from the job site. And put them in the backfill, and they'll fill up the 2 foot of the existing road. Filling 2 foot of road. And get rid of the salvage.
Okay. Maybe it muddies up the water, but it's nice to know what that, if that, if they're charging $20,000 to put that old concrete box out of there, it might be worth it to the county. We could do that ourselves. If it worked. If everything worked. But maybe they're only charging $5,000.
I don't know what roads you can on.
Dewberry? Instead?
Yeah, it's just,
There's also one up there by, cruising. That's one we go running the.
like cops. Stop, where the stops in that barn, in the lot right there. Where the. That where the road 36 comes up there next curve, and that's just south of there.
Oh, yeah. It goes back north. Or goes both ways, but
Right.
the road,
Well, yeah, the road was nothing. But it's all, the road just goes south of 36.
Right, like the big yard. With the other one.
at the top of it, yeah.
So
South.
do we have the funds?
Okay.
Is what you feel like? Do we have the funds? That has to be.
I'm sure what you're. I think it should be close.
Right.
I need to be real close to what you had for getting all your projects. Getting all your projects done, I didn't think we had the money just this year. One of them kicked over next year, but it should be good.
Is it okay to bid and separate out the concrete box removal, or would you rather just leave it in?
But they're getting ready to work on it, and everybody's getting ready to get through the Orland. I don't know that the county's got time to go there.
All right. So would you like to go back there?
You only have to advertise for a week.
All right.
I mean, I don't know if you guys think we can do that.
I'm always looking for ways to, save money, spend money.
I'd have to get a
Yeah,
hold
something
of
like
Chris with Husker Steel and see if that,
Be talking to them and see what. I mean, it's all right. Well, I feel it's all right to get go ahead of this project. I think that you can work it out.
to get what?
Go ahead with it, if you can work with everybody,
To go ahead and advertise for bids then,
right?
to go ahead and start the process.
And whatever you need to talk to Chris about. Digging it out, what they do, or changing it. for them.
So do you want me to talk to Doug about removing the concrete box? That's what the kind of things I have to know, because I need to,
I don't think. I'd rather see them working on. Fixing some of our roads yet before they oil them. Than digging out a concrete box right now.
So you wanted to advertise for bids based on that right there.
okay,
There you go.
perfect.
Okay. Anything else?
I don't think so. This is. I tried to estimate these as close as I could.
Well, you had it ready for us and we didn't even know we needed it. So thank you. That was great. Okay. Appreciate it. All right, we are
It's
long-winded today. Is there anything else we need to talk about? We've got this list here, tabled and discussed. Okay, I guess. Glenn,
we make it like an executive session for non-elected personnel. And basically, conduct of the county.
Okay, I'll second it. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Okay. Okay, we're back in we're out of executive, back in regular, no binding action taken. I'll make a motion that we go back into executive session for 10 more minutes with the 3 commissioners and the clerk to discuss personnel issues. Conduct. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. I had my mic off. If there's anything else to come before the commission, please let it be known. Otherwise, we'll have a motion for adjournment and we'll move into our work session.
I would like 5 executive session, 3 commissioners, and all those personnel for county structure.
Just us?
Yeah.
Okay, 5 minutes? Okay, I'll second. All in favor, say aye. Okay, we'll go in. Aye. We'll go into executive session with just the 3 commissioners for 5 minutes. We'll come back at 11:30. Okay. Okay, we're out of executive session, back into regular, session with no binding action taken. Is there anything else to come before the commission today? Before adjournment,
Are you gonna have a work session?
we're gonna have a work session. That's on the agenda. If not, I guess take a motion, or I'll make a motion to adjourn. Is there a second?
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to adjourn. All in favor, say aye.